Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of From the District with State Senator Suzanne Weber. I am joined, as always, and mercifully unscathed, State Senator Suzanne Weber.
Well, thank you. And I just want to mention that today, in honor of the Mid-Summer Festival in Astoria, I have my cream of lutefisk cup to drink coffee in. And it's just, it's very fitting.
Yeah, sure, you betcha.
After yesterday, I mean...
Yeah, we're getting close to 4th of July, so we saw some fireworks.
Yes, we did. And you can watch them on on Facebook for sure, because let me tell you, everyone is making hay with that. Because it was totally inappropriate.
Let's tell the people who may not know what we're talking about. Yesterday, we are recording this on Saturday morning, the 21st. Last night, the work session for HB 2025, which is the Democrats' very large transportation package, which they developed on their own, had a work session. It did not look like it was going to pass.
Oh, it was really interesting in the fact that the meeting was supposed to start at 2:30.
Yes.
So we sat there and waited and waited and waited, because there was one of the problems with this whole 2025 is that we don't have the fiscals. That is, we don't know how much it's going to cost, and we don't know how much it's going to generate. And the folks in the Capitol have not been very forthcoming with those things.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's hard to know if the proposed 2025 is going to be able to provide enough money for ODOT or not. And then, there are some other things that need to be done, like Highway 6 and 26 and 30. And we still don't have our 30 study bill. That's all wrapped up in ODOT. Right. But anyway, the meeting didn't start until I think it was about 4 o'clock. That's how long we had to wait.
You were all sitting there.
We were all sitting there. We were all in the room.
Yes, I think that it's worth bringing up. You are an incredibly busy person. If you take a look at Senator Weber's calendar, you got to schedule a time for her to go to the bathroom. So to leave an entire committee, a joint committee of legislators just sitting there for an hour and a half, it's incredibly rude, for one, and not a good waste of very limited amounts of time.
Well, come to find out, there were other things in play. All of a sudden, in our emails, we're seeing that Senator Wagner, the president of the Senate, has removed one of the people from the committee. And it's a Democrat, Senator Meek.
In the room he was in the room while this is going on.
Yeah, this is like 2 seats down, and we're seeing this on our computers. And then all of a sudden, Senator Wagner comes, because Senator Wagner is replacing Senator Meek. Senator Meek did not leave the room. Now, here's the reason. Because Senator Meek, a Democrat, has been very vocal about his opposition to this bill. And let me tell you, this bill is crazy.
I think we should also mention that his opposition is not so much opposition to the bill, but the opposition, the fact that we don't have enough information. Like, as you said, there's no fiscal. I mean, he's certainly been critical of it, but I think he would have been open to voting for it if presented the information and presented how much it's going to cost and how much you're going to make from it.
Right. And, the Republicans have figured out that this is probably going to be a $15 billion bill. That's what it's going to extract from the taxpayers of Oregon.
Yeah, that is about 20% more than we even spend on the entirety of education in the state of Oregon.
Right. That's exactly right. This is huge. This is huge for people who are retired. This is huge for people with small children. But most of all, this is huge for people who live in rural areas.
Right.
That's it. But the other really, I don't know what you call this. There are 23 amendments to this. So then we get a paper that's got all of the amendments described and their differences. Well, okay, when you're looking at a, single sheet of paper that is telling you the differences between this one and that one, and one of them is 120 pages long because it's designed to be a gut and stuff. And you've heard us talk about gut and stuffs before, and that is take away the whole bill and put something else in there related, but
Kind of.
yeah. And so anyway, and there were some amendments that were just like 3 or 4 lines, but we had to go through them. And we had some people that were very vocal. And in being very vocal after all of these things passed along party lines, because you can't see the common sense in any of this, in what it's going to do to our communities. You just can't. And I can talk about some of the things, but anyway, then we had one of our senators speak about that being crazy, and he was from one party, the other party, not mine. And then when the the representative that followed used the same words that he used to describe things, then the chair got very upset and yelled.
Yeah, I think upset.
Angry.
Right. He was angry.
He was angry, and he went off
inappropriately. And I think that I think he owes a public apology to everyone, especially Representative Bossar Davis. I know there's stuff going on in the background in terms of workplace stuff, but he did that publicly. It seems like he should apologize publicly.
Yeah.
Because I watched it. It was forceful, but it wasn't out of line. It wasn't rude. As you said, there was a Democrat right beforehand who said pretty much
exactly the same thing.
I mean, the dislike of this bill is not partisan. It is a bipartisan reality that this bill is not popular. And so that's the other thing that folks need to realize, is that because, as you mentioned, this is going to be a $15 billion tax increase on the people of Oregon, this is going to require a 3/5 majority, which means every single Democrat in both chambers have to vote for this bill. I don't think it's anywhere near that right now. Again, a lot can happen between now and Monday, but there were Democrats who were posting on social media absolutely appalled at what Senator Wagner did to Senator Meek. It is not unheard of. I believe Senator Courtney removed Betsy Johnson from a committee, but not in the middle of the committee meeting.
No. But remember, Tina Kotek did that not too long ago to Gomberg also.
Right. But it wasn't during the committee.
Right.
I mean, it happened. So folks should know that a presiding officer is the one who assigns people to their committees. It's different in Congress, for example. In Congress, the majority leader gets to assign their members, but the minority leader gets to pick their members. That's not the way it works in the Oregon legislature. The presiding officer gets to pick them all.
Oh.
Now, the presiding officer can also remove somebody from a committee at any time. And it has been done, as you mentioned, by then Speaker Kotek and by then President Courtney, God rest his soul, that if they saw a committee, there was one vote short of a bill they wanted to, and they had a Democrat, especially, who is not playing by the party rules, they would pull them.
Yes.
And they would replace them usually with themselves because it was quick.
But not while you're sitting in committee, for crying out loud.
No, it's so disrespectful and just embarrassing to the poor senator. Poor senator sitting there, getting ready, waiting, and all of a sudden everybody starts looking at him because an email came in saying he just got kicked off the committee.
Right. And I will tell you that it went through the Capitol very quickly, and many Democratic representatives and senators came to the floor to support him.
Yeah, yeah. For me, we've both been in politics.
He did issue a statement at the end too, because of how disappointed he was and how he felt about that bill. And I think that will most likely influence others in their voting.
Right. Well, but I think
not going to make anybody vote yes on our side.
As we noted, he needs every Democrat to vote for that bill.
Yes.
I do not see a world in which, after being humiliated like that, Senator Meek votes yes. I just don't see it. So he's going to have to do something to that bill somehow to bring Republicans, at least one or two Republicans, on board. And at this point, gosh, I do not see a world where that happens. I mean, they would have to be substantial changes to the bill.
Substantial.
And I just don't believe they're willing to do it.
Right. Because, the secret sauce of the increase in the gas tax, but then indexing it so that every year it adds a certain amount to it because of the cost of living. And by the time they're finished with the chart that explains it all, we're paying 85 cents a gallon in gas tax.
Right.
Just in the tax.
Right.
And they have a big push, especially for electric vehicles. And I understand that is an important part of our future going forward. But then to have a bill to import those little trucks from Europe that are gas powered, that don't go on the highway or they don't go over 65 miles an hour, and you can get them pretty cheap. And they're 25 years old. And we're worried about carbon in being produced in the cars that we're driving right now that are fossil fuel powered. I don't understand.
Yeah, it is. The fact that we are trying so hard to move to electric cars. I get what you're saying. You say that it is it's the wave of the future. There's a book out there. I encourage everybody to pick it up. If you're a reader, especially, you can get it on Audible too, or if you want to listen, it's called Cobalt Red. Go pick up that book called Cobalt Red. It describes how cobalt is mined in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and it is slave labor of children.
Yes,
that is used to mine cobalt for these
batteries.
Now, also for these things as well.
Yes,
it's on all of these. So that is a big problem that we as a society need to face. But to pretend that electric cars are the ethical way to go, you again, slave children are mining batteries so that you can feel better about yourself in your Tesla.
Right.
I'm not saying, like I said, I own a smartphone. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. You can't get one, but when they look down on us who drive gas vehicles as cavemen who are destroying the earth, well, you're using slave children to mine your batteries. So
yes. Anyway,
Cobalt Red, pick it up. I think I have never seen such a mixture of Machiavellian work and total political incompetence combined into one in what happened yesterday.
Yes, and here's the thing: the watchword for this whole session has been accountability. We've had accountability in education, and we have used it. And so there have been several other things like OHA, Human Services, all of these things. They're talking about accountability. Well, they've been talking about accountability in transportation too, but there's no sign of it.
Right. Well, there's just so much wrong here. the incompetence of what has been the political incompetence is pretty stark. We could have gotten done with this session.
Yes.
Is the 21st, Saturday the 21st. You are constitutionally required to sine die 8 days from now. You could have finished up the session,
Yes.
and then gone into special session, either by voting yourselves into special session or having the governor call you into special session to finish up the transportation package. That would give you a chance to be more transparent, to get all the budget numbers. You can make edits to the budget based on that. You could have done that, given everybody a chance to have their say, and gotten more people on board. If with I've had 30 days, maybe special session, gotten the bill passed, right?
We could have started working on this bill long ago. We didn't have the numbers. We didn't have the numbers when the bill came out. And Senator Meek asked that in the hearing. Where are the numbers? And we didn't have them. We've been issued numbers, but then we find out that they're wrong because they can't figure them out. Right. So we got another set of numbers yesterday. Do we know if they're correct or not? No. Do we know how to even interpret what they have given us?
Right.
Difficult, because is this really what is needed in order to keep our highways and byways secure? Gamba's always complaining about the bridges. He says it's going to take us 900 years to replace all the bridges in the state. And we've got some bridges that have serious condition issues.
Sure.
But there's nothing in that bill for projects other than finishing the projects that were started in 2017. And that's what I asked. I said, okay, where in this budget are we going to find the money to be able to fix Highway 6? I said, I've got 3 highways that need serious attention. Where in this budget and where in this bill is there going to be money to be able to fix those things? I didn't get an answer.
Yeah. The bill itself is a problem. I'm just amazed as we went through last week, going through all of the taxes. And again, as you point out, no clear new projects here. There seems just to be $15 billion to give them money to finish stuff up that they started. We don't know. It's just a giant blank check to ODOT.
Yeah,
is what it is. And but they, had they played this right way politically, they probably could have gotten it.
Yes.
But so far, Senator Wagner, at least, he burned any political capital he had. He burned a relationship with a key vote that he needs to have. I don't foresee this bill passing, and crazier things have happened, but it just seems, unless he's playing like some 6D chess, it just seems like this has been handled and played so poorly to the point that I think the bill's dead, which is a win for us.
That's
we didn't have to do anything except for watch them implode on themselves.
Well, and we have to finish with our budgets intact.
Right.
Budgets have to be intact to go forward. This not being intact could result in a special session. However, Speaker Fahey has said, absolutely not. There will not be a special session.
Well, Speaker Fahey doesn't get to make that decision. The governor does.
Yes.
Or you.
She is remaining silent on this so far, other than saying, get back in there and work on it.
Right. Well, and as you said, if you guys don't pass this bill, ODOT's budget has to be completely rewritten.
Yes.
Right. So
yeah.
In 8 days, have a massive agency have it. I think you very much will be in a special session. I just don't see how you don't after all of this. And I really don't know how this is going to shake out. The bill, as it says right now, 2025, I don't think there's enough votes in either chamber to pass it. God's honest truth, I don't think there would be enough votes if it just required a simple majority.
Exactly. But it's interesting to see the dynamics when somebody knows that it's a bad bill, but they're going to vote the party line.
Yeah.
You know, their eyes glaze over and they say, "I," and you think, you didn't really mean that.
Right.
Because there's political collateral that goes along with this, being in touch with your party. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a lot of those folks have got elections coming up.
Yeah. And that's where I think the unknown comes from. I don't know that Senator Meek is willing to be humiliated like that and go along. So that might be a vote that's just gone. I mean,
Right.
even if all 17 other Democrats fall in line, he needs 18, and if he can't get Meek, it means he has to go get a Republican somewhere, and I just don't see the way it is right now. So we don't know how this is going to shake out. Everybody, we think.
Right.
I mean, like I said, as it sits now, there's not enough votes. Could we see some major arm wrestling in the background? Good chance. Could we see a special session over this? If I'm picking,
there's a chance. Yeah, a good chance.
If I'm making bets, I think that's the most likely to happen.
Yes.
But we're not the ones who get to make the decision. But boy, did we! It was just, if you like political drama, that was some real House of Cards stuff going on last night. It was,
well, the whole week has been charged with political drama, from the black drag queens starting the week out.
Oh, great. Yeah.
And that got a lot of press.
Yeah, it did. It just, why?
One lady told me last night, she said, I looked out over that video and I didn't see a lot of people watching it. Where was everybody? They weren't there.
Most of the Republicans didn't go. At least one of the Republicans was there and got distracted with other stuff, didn't realize what he was seeing.
Yes. Caught up in the moment.
Yeah. And then it was just too late to leave. But most of the Republicans were gone because it's not the place for it. There are things that the state does to honor organizations and groups that we do not agree with. Don't like it. Vote no. You move on. To have it just flaunted in your face like that was pretty offensive.
Right. So anyway, it was a very drama-charged week.
Yes. And I suspect next week will be as well, being a final week.
Right.
I'm not sorry to see this one go.
Me either.
Not.
And like one of our Democratic senators said, we've got things like homelessness and hunger and job security. We lost Dutch Bros to Arizona. Yeah. We're losing a certain percentage of Intel workers. What have we done this session for business and for the health of Oregon?
Not a darn thing. You've spent a lot of time on a bill that's not going to pass.
Yeah.
But this is, we've got a lot of bills that are just camped out in Ways and Means right now.
Right.
And meanwhile, as I said, this bill, which is going to probably have a $15 billion tax price tag on it, doesn't have to go through Ways and Means. That's pretty amazing that we have to send a $100,000 ask for a kids military camp.
Right.
Ways and Means and where it gets stuck. And a $15 billion package doesn't have to go to Ways and Means. That's special.
Well, we've got all of these opportunities, especially. It'll be interesting to see what cap construction, what that budget comes out with, because that's always the mystery budget, and whether our areas are going to get any money for sewer and water and, vital infrastructure. We don't know.
Didn't we have like $90 million in asks?
$94 million in asks. $94 million in asks.
That's not going to happen. I think the best year that we've had so far was 30, 35.
Yeah.
I think so. And that's when we were pretty flush.
Right.
Still plenty of money in the state of Oregon, but no, we're not looking. That was when Fed money was all over the place, right?
Right.
We're looking for ways to spend it, because we couldn't just send it back. I mean, normally I would just say send it back, but this we actually had to spend, or it was going to go back to the feds. But this is just different. Well, Senator, we've talked a lot about
yesterday.
What else, is there anything else you want to say before we wrap her up?
No, except that I'm sorry I won't be able to get to the Midsummer Festival.
Yeah.
I love that festival.
It
is the best. The costumes, the food. I get to have lefse, you know.
I don't even know what
but I'm going to be going to a funeral this afternoon of a dear friend who will be missed greatly. And it's really ironic because she and I always made lefse once a year. And so now I'm going to have to get my lefse in Astoria.
Well, that's one of that could be a positive, though.
Yeah.
In Astoria, a silver lining of a sad situation.
Yeah.
You were getting messages.
Yes.
We'll go ahead and wrap this up, Senator. Thank you very much. We've got one more week after today. After you see this, we'll do a wrap-up show of what the session was like. And then we'll go back to, God willing, our once a month version of this. Unless we go to special session.
Right.
We'll be doing these every week to let you know.
And the other thing is that I'll be coming out to the areas and I won't be doing town halls, but I'll be taking appointments and talking with people because we do have a short session coming. Do you have ideas for, good ideas for legislation coming up in the short session?
Right. And that's a good point. We should point that out. Senator Weber does not do town halls usually, which are the big open meetings that anybody can come at a certain time. But what she has is appointments where you can schedule 15 minutes to come and sit with Senator Weber, just you and her or a couple of people or a group, to talk to her about issues that are important to you. You can voice your frustration with her or your support for her or give her ideas. What we have found, and I think we've seen it a lot over the last year, is that a lot of the times these town halls are being hijacked by angry people. And who might perfectly be angry for good reasons. They can still schedule an appointment to voice their anger, but it's not going to be a spectacle. That's just not what we're going to allow to happen.
Yeah.
We're going to make sure that everybody has their opportunity to meet with Senator Weber. So look for your times. If those times don't fit your schedule, we can most likely
make adjustments.
Yes.
Yeah.
It might have to be virtual, depending on where you're at and her schedule, but we will accommodate what you need to do to make sure that you're able to talk to her. It's not that you are avoiding public comments or like that. Is it you did one time where you did the town halls and it just either people didn't come or
yes,
or there's a number of them where nobody showed up.
Nobody showed up,
and it just wasn't a good use of time. It was only one time. Like it's going to be this time from 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock. And if you can't make that, well, you're host, right? These individual appointments you can schedule around your calendar,
right?
And you can actually have time. You're not going to have some bozo show up and take up the entire time, and you don't get to voice your concern, right? These meetings are just you and the senator sit down, have the conversation. I think we have found, although it's a lot more work on your part because it isn't just 1 hour, it is many hours. I think it's a lot more effective, but also make sure that the thing doesn't turn into a giant spectacle of angry people.
Right.
So look.
Yes. I have gotten to meet with a lot of interesting people and heard a lot of great concepts going forward, and several of them we've used, and it's good. It's good.
So look out for those. Look out for Senator Weber, hopefully in a few parades We'll hopefully be able to get to a few of those this year.
Yeah.
Not likely the June Dairy Parade. But
Well, we never know.
you
do
never
we?
know. That's always the hardest one because it's the first one.
Right. I did dust the car, so that's ready to go.
It's ready to
Just in case, if I
Great
can
car. All
squeeze
right.
into town at the last minute.
Yes.
And I did buy my candy. So,
Yes, I always love seeing the parade forms that say, "No throwing anything from the car."
right. I
Yeah.
know.
Right.
Yeah. 60 pounds of candy.
Come
Yeah.
and take it. All right. Well, thank you very much, Senator. It has been
Thank you.
an entertaining week, to say the least.
Yes.
We
It sure has.
I'm going to stop the recording now because my mouse is actually moving, as it was not last year. But thank you very much, Senator. Always a pleasure.
Thank you.
With you.
Always a pleasure. I appreciate your taking the time to do this. It's very meaningful. Thank you.
It's a wonderful time every single week. For one more week, we'll be back
One more week. Mhm.
next week to talk from the district. Thank you very much.
Okay.